Welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news. We've got lots to get into. Plus, we've got Rangnick's press conference reaction coming up at 1 o'clock. So, busy start to the day. Fasten your seatbelts. We'll be talking about a Zakaria transfer blow. Rangnick demanding transfer action. But will Manchester United actually listen? We've got a breaking story about Milinkovic-Savic. We've got Fred talking about dressing room unrest, as well as offers coming in for Pereira. And United, I suppose, very much like their season in general, a feeling that we're just stuttering along the motorway at the moment. We've not found our gear, and we've not gone in the fast lane yet. Can we do that? Of course we can. Will we do that? I'm not so sure. So lots to get into. I'm just going to start off very quickly. There's a story coming out about Milinkovic-Savic, that Manchester United are front runners to sign him. I'd file this under very distinct bollocks. Effectively, I'd file this under an Italian Alvarez job, basically. Not an Italian job, an Italian Alvarez job. This, to me, is a guy who's got 2 full years left on his contract, is approaching his last contract, and basically wants a big move or a big contract. And I do not believe that Manchester United are looking at him. This is a legacy interest from Jose Mourinho. This is not the sort of player I think that Ralph Rangnick or Ten Hag or Pochettino would really be looking at as a big signing to make Manchester United title winners. I'm not convinced Milinkovic-Savic would come to the Premier League and make a massive amount of difference for Chelsea, let alone Manchester United. I think Tchouaméni, Declan Rice and people like that would be more significant signings. I don't think Manchester United are in for him. There is a story about it, but his contract's got 2 years left on it. They would want 50, 60 million pounds, which would be a huge risk for Manchester United. I think what's happening here is his agent is looking to generate interest. Manchester United have shown interest in the past. Manchester United are a huge club. If I'm the agent of Milinkovic-Savic and I want to get him a big move or a big contract, I'm definitely chucking Manchester United interest in there because it's tangible. We were interested in him a few years ago, and obviously if United are interested, it might prick a few ears up. So I don't believe we're in for Milinkovic-Savic. In relation to Zakaria and Martial, you might see on the thumb it says 1 in, 1 out. Basically, Rangnick wants action this month. This doesn't mean it's going to happen. We've had Manchester United managers, permanent Manchester United managers wanting transfers, and they've been refused in the past. Mourinho, when he got us to second, got totally ignored by the board and ended up losing his job. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has wanted signings and not got them, although some would say he's had quite enough, thank you very much. But look, whether they're going to listen to Rangnick in January or not is interesting. There are two updates to talk about that are quite significant. Both of them coming from Italy, one from Di Marzio, one from Romano. The first off, I suppose the juicy one is Zakaria. Romano this morning confirming interest from Juventus in Zakaria. There was a story last night about Juventus' interest in Zakaria, and I even tweeted about it late last night. It's it frustrates me because PSG have done it, but Juventus are brilliant at it, acquiring players who are free. They did it with Aaron Ramsey. They did it with Rabiot. I think they've done it with 2 or 3 others. They're very good at monitoring markets and grabbing people who are in the last 4 or 5 months of their contract for the summer ahead. And I think what the problem Manchester United are facing with Zakaria, and I was speaking to somebody about this yesterday evening, is that Mönchengladbach will gladly sell Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Juventus, Zakaria now for £5 million because in the summer they'll get nothing. And they'll gladly take the £5 million over nothing. The problem is Zakaria, who's on about 50 grand a week at Mönchengladbach, could be on over 100 grand a week if he waits till the summer and plays everybody off against each other, which is what Lingard's going to do and what Pogba's going to do. And that's the problem you've got. Zakaria may well be just, look, I'll see this out. It's 4 months. I'm not really that bothered about going to the Premier League or Serie A at the moment. I'll quite happily have a new start in the summer and I'll have a lot more options and I'll have a bit of a bidding war going on for me. So that is a problem. And obviously, when Manchester United gets stuck in a bidding war, we lose unless we pay silly money. But you're not going to pay silly money here. This is going to be about wages. This is going to be about agent fees, etc. So, look, I think that Rangnick would love Manchester United to go and buy Zakaria this month. It certainly is a deal that could be done, but with Juventus sniffing around, they are way more competent than we are. PSG are way more competent. Bayern Munich are way more competent. you could argue that Arsenal and Liverpool are, and these are all clubs that apparently are very interested in Zakaria. So I think it's going to be a very difficult deal for us to do. Although I think it's the only deal we can do in January. It's the only midfield signing we can do. But as we know with Manchester United, we're probably going to find out at lunchtime how close Paul Pogba is to coming back from injury. As soon as I saw a picture of Paul Pogba yesterday, I thought, great. He's not going to play until February anyway. Is this now a smokescreen of, we don't need a midfielder, he's like a new signing to get us by till the summer? And I would say, exactly. That's exactly what I thought yesterday, and I think everybody's right to think it. Pogba ain't going to play for United till February. Why are we reeling him out in pictures now on the training ground? Because it's like, we don't need a midfielder, we've got Pogba. That's exactly what the plan is. But my issue is, Paul Pogba's not a holding midfielder. He isn't. You know, we've got Donny van de Beek can play where Paul Pogba plays. He doesn't, but he could if we needed him to. Bruno can, McTominay can, Fred can. Can anybody play where Matic plays? No. That's what we need. And again, it's appealing to the idiots. We don't need a midfielder because we've got Pogba. We haven't got a CDM. That's what we need. That's what we need right now. And that's what we're failing to achieve. And it's what Rangnick wants. Rangnick definitely wants a holding midfielder, and he wants it yesterday. But will they deliver? More chance of me being 15-foot tall tomorrow than Man United signing a decent player this January, says James. And if we don't at least bid for Zakaria, I give up on the board, completely pay him what he wants. He's streets ahead of McFred. Ace, thanks for the super chats this morning. I will go back to what I said last week. I don't think bidding for Zakaria is relevant. I really don't. As I said, Mönchengladbach will take 5 million. You don't need to bid. They're not going to reject. This is about negotiating with the player. And it doesn't feel like Man United are able to get the player. So, you know, we probably won't get the player. We're negotiating directly with the player. They're the conversations that Juventus will be having by Munich, because whether they buy him in January or in the summer, you're negotiating with the player because he's the one with the power in that situation. If Lingard decided he wanted to go now, it wouldn't be us to negotiate with. I mean, well, the best way of explaining the Zakaria situation is West Ham speak to Lingard and say, we really want you now, Jesse, and I know that you'll get 150 grand in the summer, but we'll give you 125 grand now. We need you. And Lingard goes, you know what, for 25 grand a week, I've got a thriving clothing business that's going to sell loads when I start actually playing football. I'll make that money up. I want to play football. I want to be in the World Cup. Take me to West Ham. They agree the deal with Lingard. They phone up United and say, look, Lingard wants to come to us. We'll give you 20 million. United probably would go, we want 25, and West Ham put the phone down and say, we'll take him in the summer. But the reality is, United should take the 20 million because in the summer you're getting nothing. And it's the same with Zakaria. Mönchengladbach don't really have much power. Morning, Mark. Get ready for Thursday night football, says Mikael Roach. In relation to Hadara, just very quickly. So, yeah, confirmation coming in that Juventus are interested in Zakaria now, or Zakaria, however you pronounce it. In relation to Hadara, you may have seen the video that Beth did yesterday with Fabrizio Romano. If you haven't, it's well worth a watch. Covers loads of things from Donny to Hadara to Zakaria to Cavani to Martial to Pogba to the manager situation. There's loads in there. But what we do know about Hadara is that his release clause of 30 million doesn't kick in until the summer. So if you wanted to buy him in January, you'd probably have to give Leipzig 40 million because they're going to go, he's valuable to us between now and the end of the season. All right, he'll go for 30 million in the summer, but we're not selling him for 30 million in January because there's no gain for us. So they're going to want at least 35, 40 million. This ain't going to happen in January for Hadara. It's a summer signing. And ultimately, I would jump on the side of many of you. Hadara and Zakaria are assigning for now to give us a chance to maybe get top four. In the summer, we're going to have to go better than that. And we're going to have to go bigger than that. And I'm talking Tchouaméni, Ruben Neves, people like that. So, yeah, I mean, look, in relation to midfielder, I still think we'll get one because I think it's impossible to get top four if we don't. Who we're going to get, I do think Zakaria is the one to go and get. I know I'm a bit of, I know that divides opinions, but I do think he is the one to go and get. I think it's achievable. It's about how you sell the club. And I think if you speak to Zakaria and you say, look, there's a spot in that midfield for you right now. We're playing Brentford tomorrow night. Matic can't play. Played well at the weekend, but he can't play 2 games in a week. Fred's not a holding midfielder. McTominay's not a holding midfielder. You'd be playing in that game for Manchester United in the Premier League for a massive club in a massive league. That's the job. If he doesn't want to sign that, I don't know what he wants to do with his life. He's wasting it, really. But, It's for United to sell the dream, not us. I'm sure we'd be a lot more efficient in the transfer window. The second, so 1 in, 1 out. Basically, Rangnick wants 1 in. He wants Martial out. Now, there's a story from Damarcio last night that Juventus are interested in Martial. What I was told last night with Rangnick is that he's not a vindictive man. You know, he's not like Mourinho. He doesn't treat people like shit or anything like that. He's very upfront and very honest. He wants Martial gone. He doesn't want Martial staying part of the club. If the club tell him Martial's got to stay, he will speak positively, and he may well do it at lunchtime today. But the reality is he wants Martial gone for the simple reason that Martial wants to be gone. And every day that Rangnick's been at that club, from day one, Martial has told him he wants to go. Rangnick respects that. He doesn't want to use Martial, and Martial doesn't really want to be used either because they want to get a January move. Rangnick doesn't want Martial here. Martial doesn't want to be here. The only person that's pushing Martial to stay and Rangnick to keep him is the club. But they sit in an office, a well-heated office, with a transfer market browser open all the time, and no foot in reality. Rangnick's on the training ground with Martial, who doesn't want to be there. So Rangnick wants Martial gone. Martial wants to go. Whether the club can facilitate this or not, I don't know. I mean, there's a story coming out from Brazil, and correct me if you can remember what the fee was, but apparently the club that Pereira is at want to buy Pereira. They want to buy him, but Man United are not happy with the fee that's being offered. And this is the same with Martial. It's been the same for years. We need people. We need a director of football. We need a CEO. We need a technical director who doesn't live on Football Manager and Transfermarket.com and actually lives in reality. If somebody rings you up and offers you money for Pereira, that's like someone knocking on the toilet door when you're in a public toilet and you finished a big poo and someone says, "Can I buy it from you?" All you're going to do is flush it down the toilet. And United are going, "Well, let's negotiate." Pereira has got no value. None. I've said about Pereira 6 years ago, I thought he could be really, really top standard player. He's not going to be. I'm not going to cry about it. It's football. You see players... Look, Mason Greenwood in 10 years might not have a career as good as Theo Walcott. He could have a career as good as Mbappe. I think he's a generational talent. Doesn't mean he's going to be a generational talent. Nobody can confirm that. With Andreas Pereira, I thought he was going to be good. He's not good. I don't know what... If you said to me today, and I'll say it to you, Andreas Pereira, tell me what English club he starts for. And it can be across any of the divisions. And I would say, well, let's start mid-table championship to start off with, because there's no way he's a starter for a Premier League club. No Premier League club starts him. So he's a mid-table championship club as a starting point. And even that might be optimistic. And Manchester United are going to negotiate thinking they can get 5, 10, 15 million for him. Mate, if they offer you 3 million, just take it. Take it, I'm telling you. But we're living on transfer market. They'll type Andreas Pereira in, it will go 9 million, and they'll go, oh, we might be able to get 12. Like, if you dip your toe in reality, Pereira's value is what somebody's willing to pay. There's not a bidding war. Everyone's, it's the one, the world's a horrible place. It's full of conflict and anger and frustration. Andreas Pereira is peace. Everyone's holding hands. They're all going, he's worth nothing. We all agree. And he's not. So if someone wants to give some money for him, you've got to take it. So same with Martial. Man United want someone to pay all of his 250 grand a week wages and give us 6 million in a loan fee. It's never going to happen. Never going to happen. I would rather we paid his wages and sent him off on loan at this point. It's ridiculous, I know, but it's a toxic situation at United. It doesn't help Rangnick, it doesn't help the fans, it doesn't help Martial, it doesn't help the team. He's never going to start ahead of Ronaldo or Cavani, and he never should do. He doesn't want to play on the wing, he doesn't want to be here. Get him off to Sevilla, on loan, to the end of the season, scores 5 goals, get some value and sell him. Mark, hypothetically, if you were the but Juventus is apparently interested in Martial, which I think would be a very interesting move. But are United going to be pig-headed about fees? United strike me as the club at the moment that You know, Norwich come in and offer £5 million for Phil Jones, and United say they want 10. It's like, the value is what somebody's willing to pay. If somebody's willing to pay, don't reject them. Don't reject them. It's like being starving hungry, and someone comes round with a cold samosa, and you go, I'd rather it was hot, and I'd rather it was a vegetarian one. Just bloody eat it. Take it, because you know what? Fresh air is what your next offer's going to be. Fresh air and an F off. Mark, hypothetically, if you were the manager right now, would you sell Martial or play him back into form? I'd sell him, Ace. I'd sell him. I like Martial. I really, really like Martial. But if we're living in a fantasy, I get the Anthony Martial of 18 months ago and I use him on the left wing because I like him there. But we're living in reality, and the reality is he's not happy and he wants to play up front. And I've got to be honest, Cavani and Ronaldo are better than him. So I can't offer him first team football. He wants to go. I respect it, and I find him a move. Bit off topic, Mark, but what do you think of big striker at Fiorentina instead of Haaland in the summer? Well, it looks like he's going. Vlahovic, isn't it, Dazzo? He was basically waving goodbye to his fans last night. He wasn't outside his hotel going, Vlahovic, ultras, I'm going. It was like he was playing for Fiorentina. But there's going to be... I love samosas as well. I love samosas. I would not turn down a vegetable samosa or a meat samosa. I love them. Hot or cold, very nice. If they've got a bit of a dip with them, you know, that red sauce, even better. But I think the last week of the transfer window is going to be really interesting. Are United going to participate, or are we going to sit back? Our league position at the moment is very much sitting back and observing the top four race. Are we going to sit back and observe top four clubs buying people to make their chances better? We can't do that. Does anyone at the club understand the difference between CM and CDM? They're always speculating box to box. Hello, we need a CDM, says B. Yakov. Well, that's a legacy to Solskjaer, and you do wonder whether that legacy has continued through Phelan and Fletcher, because Solskjaer hated the discussion about CDM. He openly spoke about it a few times, that he doesn't really see it as a CDM. A midfielder can do lots of different things, which is like why he liked Fred and McTominay, and why he destroyed McTominay and Fred, because McTominay and Fred are actually better. Fred's better pressing higher up the pitch, as we saw with the second goal on Saturday, and McTominay's better higher up the pitch because really his only real attribute is shooting. I mean, we've spent a lot of time watching McTominay. He's crap at tackling, his passing's really dull, his long passing's reasonably good, and his shooting from the edge of the box is good. And he's pretty good in the air. That McTominay's three attributes are aerial, shots from the edge of the box, and long passing if he's got time to hit it. He's not quick, he's not tenacious, he's not good in the tackle, his short and medium passing range is not great. So, you know, but Ollie turns them into bloody box to box midfielders, which ultimately doesn't even exist in the modern game. You've got to have somebody who shepherds the back four and feeds the attack. And we don't. We've got Nemanja Matic and that's it. But I think you're right. I think you make a good point. I think for the last 3 years we've ignored the specialist CDM position, which is stunningly stupid because one of the key coaches, was one of the best holding midfielders we've ever had in the Premier League era, and his name was Michael Carrick. But we chose to ignore. I just don't know what Michael Carrick was doing. I don't know what he was doing. You know, for the last year, it's been very obvious that we need a holding midfielder since Matic stopped playing. What was Carrick doing in the interview, in the meetings? You know, here I am, one of the best holding midfielders United have had in the Premier League era, and we're not playing with one, and everyone knows we need one. We don't need one, man. I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was doing, because basically we needed a 28-year-old Michael Carrick. That would solve all our problems, but when you've got him as an assistant coach and you still don't solve the problem, you've got to wonder what was he doing, trying to preserve his legacy? We don't need a holding midfielder. Like, gone scouse. Maybe he was trying to preserve his own legacy. I don't know. Do you think we'll play better with Cavani and Ronaldo? No, I don't think we can play with a front two. R1 Reese. And if you like samosa, I'd say shout. I love pakora, Adil. You don't need to tell me about pakora. I know it's breakfast time. But if someone came in now with 10 chicken pakoras and a dip, this show ends. That, you know, basically, chicken pakora. If you like chicken nuggets, well, chicken nuggets to a chicken pakora is basically a B-Tech chicken pakora. That's what a chicken nugget is. They are elite, absolutely beautiful. You'll never. If you have a chicken nugget after a chicken pakora, you'll just go, and you might love chicken nuggets now, but you'd go, yeah, it's not a pakora. Yeah. Anyway, who'd have thought we'd be talking about that? We required director of football like Liverpool do director of football who've got respect in negotiation, then we get proper sell as well as proper buy, says Jay. Good point. So yeah, let's talk. So we've spoken about Hadara, we've spoken about Zakaria, we've spoken about Milinkovic-Savic, we've spoken about Martial, we've spoken about this Pereira story. I just want to speak a moment about Fred. So Fred, it feels like every United player at the moment is doing an interview with ESPN Brazil, because Cavani's done one. Cavani's not done one. Fred spoke about Cavani and Corinthians, and Cavani wants to leave Manchester United. I mean, we all love loyalty, and we all think everybody would die for Manchester United's shirt, which clearly they wouldn't. But the reality is, Cavani would have liked to have gone and has agreed to stay. There's no problem with that. It's the modern footballer, right? So Fred's talking to ESPN Brazil, and they talk to him about the leaks, yeah? And Goldbridge cooks pakora. That sounds like, I'm going to write that down, because then that's a double win for me. I do a cooking with Goldbridge and I get to eat them. So the reality is, Fred was asked about dressing room cliques, the different sections in the dressing room. And he said, basically, it's fake news, it's lies. But my reaction to that, and I tweeted it yesterday, is Fred can't find a pass in a midfield where he's got loads of space. How do you think he's going to find secret groups in a dressing room? So Fred's talking out his arse, basically. There are cliques in that dressing room, and they've been there since before Fred was there. Maybe no one's invited him into the group. Maybe Fred just walks in with a big smile and everyone just goes, hi Fred, and he's just not part of any of the groups. But there's definitely cliques in that dressing room, and I'm not going to listen to Fred coming out talking about it. What I wanted to talk about Fred about was, and on a serious note, is I think Fred's really likeable. It's not nice. You almost feel guilty when you criticise Fred, even though he's crap. You do feel guilty criticising him. I mean, he was awful on Saturday. Cost us the first goal easily. But I do think and also there's something about Fred. When we've blown a 2-0 lead, I don't know whether this is just me. We blew a 2-0 lead. We're into a minute of stoppage time, and he's smiling, and I'm like, I can't hate that. I know that's probably really old school, but if I'm on that pitch and we've worked really hard and done reasonably well to be 2-0 up and we've blown it, the last thing I'm doing in them last 2 minutes is smiling. But it just shows the mentality issue at United. There's no leaders on that pitch, and Ollie did it. Ollie did it, didn't he? What was that game when we blew it and he was smiling on the touchline in the 90th minute? There's not really there's not a relentless winning attitude in that team, and it hurts us a lot. But what I was thinking about Fred is that, and it got me thinking because he was talking to ESPN in Brazil, and he's been called up for Brazil again, and he starts a lot of games for Brazil. I purposely do not watch South American Copa America, or I won't watch the friendlies or anything like that. And the reason I don't do it is because ever since I was a kid, I'd watch a World Cup and you'd see this exciting team in yellow or exciting team in stripes, white and light blue. And you'd learn about that team in that World Cup, and then 4 years later you'd learn it again. And I've always been like that. I'm not really interested in monitoring how well Brazil or Argentina are doing. I'll watch it in the World Cup. But what I am intrigued with is Brazil are either really shit if Fred starts for them, and they're going to be shit in the World Cup, which could be a possibility, or we're completely using Fred wrong. Now, I think we're completely using Fred wrong. I do. Brazil might be a bit shit, and look, I still think Fred's pretty crap, but I do think we're using him wrong. He is a player that is very, very good at closing people down tenaciously. He can't do that holding the midfield, because the clue is in the answer. Holding the midfield, holding your space, protecting the back four. Fred, to me, would work better if we had a Fabinho, if we had a Rodri, if we had a 28-year-old Matic. Fred, you'd have Matic there, Fred off the left, and probably Bruno off the right, or Pogba. And Matic would sit, or Fabinho would sit, or Rodri would sit, and Fred would just go and hunt the ball. That's what he would do. Unfortunately, we've been using Fred as a holding midfielder with McTominay for the last 18 months, and I think that's the problem. Can you do a watch along on Chicken Pakora adverts, says Robert McCormack? I'm going to make it, Robert. I'm going to make it. So yeah, I think that, I mean, look, Ghost is right. Fred can't pass. I agree with David. He's a BTEC Carrera. But look, whatever Fred is, he's never a £50 million signing. He's a bad signing. If I sold Fred tomorrow, would you give me 20 million? Probably. Would you give me 25? I don't think you would. He's not that good. And his smiles and happy-go-lucky attitude doesn't excuse the fact that he's not very good. We've struggled with this with Juan Mata for 4 years. It's taken a lot of people a long time to realise that Mata was done 4 years ago. Because they like Mata. You know, he used to write a blog. He's a nice guy. But he's been done for 4 years. And I think put a smile on your face. It's not a Ronan Keating song. The smile on your face lets me know that you need me. There's a smile on Fred's face, but that's not reason to think he's a good footballer or give him a free pass. But I do think that we use him incorrectly. You know what? In a way, I'm probably like most of you. I'm so frustrated with this football club. I'm so bloody frustrated with it because everything leads back to one thing. Everything leads back to one thing. Whether it's getting the best out of Fred or McTominay or Pogba or Bruno or Donny, whether it's getting more ball to the attack, whether it's the fullbacks being allowed to go forward, whether it's protecting the back two, everything goes back to what I call the conductor, the holding, CDM. I finished my football career, and if I ever play now, this is my position, because it's the most underrated in some ways, but most important position. You are so involved in the game. Really, if you've got leadership skills, you're the perfect captain as well. The CDM is so important. It takes the ball off the back four, it feeds the attack. It protects the back four, it conducts the midfield. It allows the fullbacks to go forward because you can drop in. Everything goes through you. And United, to not have had one for the last 18 months, I would be appalled with Preston North End not solving this problem, and Manchester United have not solved. You know what? It needs calling out more. You know, they think they know best. It's bloody disgusting that Manchester United do not have a specialist centre defensive midfielder when it is established to be one of the most important positions in any successful club. Imagine Man City without Rodri. Imagine Liverpool without Fabinho. Imagine Chelsea without a Jorginho. You know, imagine Bayern Munich without a Kimmich or a Goretzka. Like, every big club has got one. But Manchester United seem to think we don't need one. And then they wonder why Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, Cristiano Ronaldo, fullbacks can't get forward. Defence gets exposed. We conceded 2 goals on Saturday. Somebody tried to blame one of them on Varane. I said, he's overrun. Look who's scoring a goal. It's Coutinho. That's not a striker. That's because he's got midfielders running in. The assist comes from Ramsey on the equaliser, and the goal comes from Coutinho. Neither of those players are actually the responsibility of Varane or Lindelof. But we can see, and look, De Gea's been our player of the year, but he's conceded loads of goals. We concede goals because our midfield allow runners through, and you can't mark everyone as a defender. You can't. We haven't solved such a major, easy issue, and we're still not solving it. It's a bloody embarrassment. An absolute embarrassment. And don't ever tell me Murta and Fletcher are good at their job. The first thing they should have done, and they've been in post for nearly a year now, if you're anywhere near competent, you solve that CDM role or you don't understand football. You can bring Ronaldo in, you can spend 74 million on Sancho, you can get Varane. They're all very good signings. But if you don't... I've said it before, right? You can have your dream house. You can have a Ferrari on the drive. You can have a luxurious bedroom. You can have a fantastic kitchen. You can have everything you want. And you can hold the best party for all your mates. But when they come round and say, where's the toilet? And you say, we just do it in the garage. You've lost. Every house needs a toilet. Otherwise, it gets full of shit. And Manchester United have built a great mansion with no toilets in it. And it's inexcusable. So, yeah, Ronaldo's a Ferrari, but there's no holding midfielder, and it reflects badly on the director of football, the board, the coaches, but it doesn't reflect badly on Rangnick because he bloody wants one. He's only been there a month. He probably knew within a minute we needed one, and they won't bloody get one. The two players with the best attitudes there and Ronaldo are the only two players left from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Coincidence? No. Well, they're just winners as well, which they probably learned from that era. Can't understand why you guys are not all over Kessie for the summer. He won't renew with us since Maldini muddied his agent in the summer, but he wants a 9 million salary, says Milanista. Well, that's probably why, mate. Also, it's the summer. We could go for Kessie in the summer, but that's not going to help us now. I would offer my arm for us to get Ruben Neves. Great defensively, great passer, and experienced leader, and he's only 24. The problem is, Emil, if I had someone from Man United now who actually wanted to speak to us, they would say, well, yeah, you make good points and we're focused on many options in the summer. But the problem is you'd feel like grabbing hold of them and saying, what are you doing now? You're going to be in the Europa League in the summer. And the CDM problem, can I just sit you down and listen? Turn your phone off. Stop thinking about Ed Woodward. Listen to me, right? Listen. You're telling me you want a holding midfielder in the summer, yeah? Yeah. That's the plan. Do you like it? No, I hate it. Do you want to know why? Because you think in the summer you're going to spend all summer looking for a CDM, right? You're going to all over the place, right? If you don't get one now, we'll probably be in the Europa League. You know them CDM plans you were thinking about? They're going to get forgotten as Ronaldo leaves and a few others leave, and suddenly your CDM search turns into an absolute nightmare because you're in the Europa League, loads of people are unhappy, and some people are leaving. That is why you need to do it now. Do you want a job? No, I've never played for United. Oh, that's a shame. Is Ed still in the club till Feb? Yes, he is. He is. He really is. So there we go. Right, look. Anyway, I could go on and on. I'm not going to go on and on. Please smash a like on the video and make sure you subscribe to the channel, bottom right hand corner. Now, Rangnick's press conference today is a little bit earlier. Normally it's 1:30 and we're live just before 2. It's live at 12:30 today and we'll be live at 1 o'clock. So I expect him to talk about Martial. I'm sure he's going to confirm when Pogba's back as well. And he may give us something about team news and transfers tomorrow. I don't like how Fletcher is in manager's ear recommending players like McGinn. I'm Scottish and don't want all Scottish midfield in. McTominay and him, says Daz Bear. Yeah, well, I don't like the Fletcher thing, but I don't talk about it anymore because apparently it's an agenda, so I just don't talk about it. But you shouldn't be anywhere. I don't think he's a very good technical director. I certainly don't think he's a very good coach. But United are obsessed with United on your Wikipedia page, aren't they? So there we go. We're not doing a very good job. The club is still not being run very well, and it's a bloody shambles that we haven't had a CDM for 18 months. So, let them think they're doing a good job. They're not. They think basically. You buy Ronaldo and you think everything gets solved, but Ronaldo can't do it if he hasn't got a midfield behind him. No number 4 spot this season. Don't look for 100 million transfer in the summertime, says Bolver. Okay. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back at 1 with the press conference, and I think tonight we're live at 7 instead of 8 o'clock because I'm going to do Chelsea versus Brighton on That's Football, so it'll be a 7 o'clock show tonight. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Have a good day, and I'll speak to you all in a little bit. We'll be back live at 1 for our Rangnick's press conference reaction. Busy, busy, busy.